Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22, and we are entering the zone of Dear Comment section. So we've already uploaded two of them. We're in the process of doing that. And here's another one from our friend Name Last. This is in response to the Happy Father's Day 2022, and I believe in the video I just mentioned, oh yeah, also, today is Juneteenth. Obviously I was celebrating Father's Day, yada yada. And I'm like, I mentioned that my I'm not of a heritage that would have been greatly affected by Juneteenth. And this is the response. What heritage celebrates Juneteenth in your estimation? It's a celebration of enfranchisement of lifelong Americans. Is that not part of your heritage? Aren't you American? Well, that is one way to look at it, and very valid, right? It's a new holiday to me. If I was hanging out with my friend Della, I'd be celebrating Juneteenth, but it also happened to fall on Father's Day, which is a big holiday to me. And so we celebrated Father's Day, and then someone mentioned, oh, today's Juneteenth, and Juneteenth's observance was that following Monday as a national holiday. So it's one way to look at it, but because of the events in Galveston, Texas, those disenfranchised Americans can now find solace in the 4th of July, which was to soon become. I'm not saying that you completely disregard Juneteenth. It's just, 4th of July, if it didn't mean something to disenfranchised Americans who sought their, who got their freedom after other groups of people, then now the 4th of July also means something to them, and there's a lot of people who see that sentiment as well. But also, it's how the new holiday is pushed, right? Like, if I talk to my friend Della, Juneteenth is something that she celebrates as part of her heritage and culture, and she, and if I'm with her, I will celebrate it with her. You know what I mean? But I don't go out of my way to celebrate that, and that's kind of how the way she celebrates it is way different than how it's being pushed by mainstream media, and that's what I don't like. And the reason that it became a federal holiday is because it's being pushed in all this big social movement. Instead of making it a holiday for the sake of making it a holiday and because of its own merits, they pushed it through. And they're pushing it on this new it's a symbolic holiday now to recognize Americans that face systemic racism, and that it's still going on to this day. And, America's just as racist as it was back at the time, in Galveston 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed into law. You know what I mean? And that's bullshit, because America may have at one point been systemically racist, right? Even just the claim of, people were racist. That was just part of the culture, and then people moved away from that culture. We've done a review of the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which was Samuel Clemens's book talking about his denouncement of it, and he wrote it during a time that racism was pronounced in the culture, and he was one of the people opposing it. See, things like that, like, at one point, it was in the system of the culture, but it was not. It is not to this day systemically racist. If anything, it's systemically racist because people are like, oh, because this was racist at one point, we need to go so extreme that we're attacking the people that we believe were responsible for racism. In and of itself makes it racist against that other group of people. So yes, racism exists, but not in the way that people describe it. And it's just a narrative to pit people against one another and yada yada. And in all actuality, I like the idea of the Juneteenth holiday, and I love Della, and I respect everything she does, and I wish that the holiday respected what Della does instead of what this national narrative is trying to do and say that people are still slaves. Right, and that's not what, we need to remember this because they freed the slaves, but we still have a lot of work to do because they're only 4 days, only 4 physical days have passed since they were freed. No, bullshit. Bullshit, hundreds of years have passed. 100 years has passed easily, and it's still, so don't quote me on the date when, yeah. easily 100 years has passed, and it's not as if 4 days has only gone by. That's the way it's described. It's like Juneteenth happened in Galveston, Texas, and then today's date, and not much has changed. Like bull fucking shit. That was my and that's my response to the comment. Was just, I like, it is part of my heritage as an American. It is part of, but the way that the media is pushing it, I think it just puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and it's almost ruined a holiday that people like Della hold close. And I think that's my gripe with it, is what it is. It's not a boo to the holiday. It's a boo to what our new culture is pushing on this holiday. So that's it, folks. All right, I'll have another one for you here shortly. See ya.